Well, hello there, and thank you so very much for joining me live on the spot this beautiful afternoon. It's indeed a huge pleasure to have you join me on the program. My name, of course, is Aaron Isaac. We'll be taking up a critical matter on the program today, staying with the National Population Census and some series of activities they have in the offing. But first off, let's try to understand, make sense of what a population is all about, the International World Population Day. Let's try to make sense about this development and what they imply. The population of the world has significant impact on socio-economic development, environmental sustainability, and individual well-being, and that is a fact. World Population Day has been celebrated every year, you can say annually, to create awareness about the growing population of the world, put at 8.2 billion this year. Data obtained is used for national planning and development strategies. A global day is marked with a theme, and each year the theme differs. For this year, embracing the power of inclusive data towards a resilient and equitable future for all reminds the entire world of the imperativeness of data. In Nigeria, the last census was due to be conducted after 18 years in the year 2023. Sadly, the exercise was unable to hold in the year 2023, with a lot of expectation that the current president would maybe perhaps consider the demands of the commission to conduct the census for this country. And of course, this commission had been over 80% ready for the conduct of the census last year. But unfortunately, it never saw the light of day. With Nigeria's population projected to hit over 200 million, which is about double of it in the year 2050, what do we need to do? While this will form the crux of our conversation today, we'll be taking a look at another critical issue about to commence in Nigeria this year, which is the Digitized Birth Registration. Regular registration of birth is the responsibility of every government aimed at equipping relevant agencies with needed data and statistics for national planning and development. To ensure Nigeria is not left behind, the Nigerian Population Commission, NPC, in collaboration with UNICEF, is adopting digital birth registration for birth between ages 0 and 5. The obvious question that requires answers are, why is the Commission embarking on such an exercise as this one? How long would it take for this exercise to last? What are the modalities put in place to drive the entire process? What are the plans put on ground to get to hard-to-reach areas and have their kids registered? How would data gotten from these exercises help in national planning and development? Well, before we segue into this particular conversation, let me have you take a listen to the first item on the program today, which was a press briefing with the Honorable Federal Commissioner for National Population Commission, Adamawa State, in a parley with pressmen on the World Population Day. Do take a listen.
Population Commission in Adamawa, Dr. Clifford Zirra, has re-emphasized the Commission's commitment toward enhancing sustainable and equitable future for Nigerians. Dr. Clifford made the declaration at a press conference in Yola in commemoration of the 2024 Population Day on August 7 with the team embracing the power of inclusive data toward a resilient and equitable future for all. Call for action.
The 2024 World Population Day offers opportunities to look beyond patches of improvements in data collection and analysis, but to ask ourselves as data producers whether during data collection in censuses, surveys, registration of civil events, the right questions are asked. Is our data collection safe for all people? Who is still going uncounted and unaccounted for?
The Federal Commissioner also solicited support of all stakeholders, especially on the areas of data generation and evaluation as the Commission prepares for the long-awaited census.
For now, we are still waiting, but I can tell you that for the preparations that we have done in National Population Commission, we were, as at the year 2023, we were not less than 70 to 80% ready. So in fact, there was only one training that remains. That is the local government training. We have done our enumeration area demarcation in 770, all the 774 local government areas.
He added that Nigerians need to strengthen their data generation, institution, and adequately fund periodic data collection exercises that is inclusive and legislative friendly to engender timely conduct of the census. Population census gives the government an idea of the different populations in different parts of the country, which will in turn aid the government in the adequate provision of social amenities like water, electricity, roads, and hospital, which is beneficial to the citizens of the country.
All right, that's the Federal Honorable Commissioner of the National Population Commission, Adamawa State, Dr. Clifford Zirra, in that particular press parley with pressmen where he talked about the World Population Day, a concept that has become too popular in Nigeria today. And we are about to set the agenda on this particular conversation because I have my guest seated with me right here in the studio live. We'll be talking about these development and other issues that borders around the corridor of population and data gathering in Nigeria. A very good afternoon to you, and thank you so very much, Federal Commissioner, for joining me on the program.
Thank you very much.
I'm most delightful that you are joining me live on the program today after a long while.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so let's begin with, let's take off from that particular press briefing that you had with pressmen just yesterday, if I get that correctly. Give me a sense of why you saw it so important for you to brief the press on the World Population Day.
Well, I think you have already taken that. It is very, very important for each and everybody in the country and in the world to be very, very much aware of the exploding population globally. It's not just only in Nigeria. And you see, resources are very limited, as we know.
Yes, of course.
And because of that, we should be very conscious of how many people are there in the world and in the country. And that is why we always reaffirm every year. There is what we launch the July 11th, every year we launch and talk much about the World Population Day so that everybody should be conscious. Everybody should not be conversant because there are many mouths to feed. Many people have no jobs and what have you. And so it is very important for us to talk to ourselves. It's not just government.
All right.
How many people can government employ? Is government going to give you food in your house? Government can only create an enabling environment so that, the populace should be able to feed themselves. So any nation that can feed itself, the problems are over.
But Federal Honorable Commissioner, do you think, especially in developed climes, developed countries, do you think the government in developed countries are very much aware and conscious about the rise in, population in their countries, and especially on the continent of Africa, if we try to do a perspective look of how the continent's growing population is becoming a real scare?
Well, I don't know, but my own country that I know of, that is my dear Nigeria, governments of the day, and most especially the present government of the day, is very, very conscious of the bulging population and what we do about it. How do we feed the extra mouth? With galloping inflation, with economic indices that are bad, not just in this country, because we think that the problems we have are only here. It is not only in Nigeria. It's a global problem. Is a global event. But you cannot say because there are problems and you run away from it. And that is why the government of the day is always making sure that they do things that can ameliorate the suffering of the people.
Why this is a fact, let's take a look at the theme for this year, embracing the power of inclusive data towards a resilient and equitable future for all. You place a lot of emphasis on that, and you asked some kind of critical questions even after you made mention of the theme for the year. Let me have you talk about the imperativeness, the importance of this theme to this year's World Population Day.
To begin with, data is money.
Data is money?
Definitely, yes.
Can you just dig in?
Oh, definitely. Data is money. By the time you know how many people are even in your own household, if you don't know, how will you plan to feed them? Just start from that level. So if Nigeria is now aware of the number of people that we have, the demographic futures of the people that we have, 1 to 5 years, 5 years to 16 years, or above 16 years, what of the aging population? So the estimate we have is that about 70% of Nigerians are youth. And that is why today, when you have problems, it is the youth that you see them going out. Of course, yes, because they are more in number. And so that is why the government also comes down to their level to ensure that. That is why there should be a concerted effort, both at the federal level, at the state level, and the local government levels, so that we should be able to address all the teeming problems that are faced by our youth. Is it unemployment? Is it the question of feeding? Is it the question of, so many questions. So many questions are asked. Okay. Without data, sir, you cannot be able to solve all these problems. You cannot plan. You cannot know what, if you don't know the people that are there in the country, how do you plan? How do you provide infrastructure facilities? The one that is necessary. It's not just to produce, to put in place infrastructure that are not relevant to the needs of the people. For example, so if you have a population of aging people, I was reading today in the social media, one diplomat who spent years in I think it's in Mali or so. So he built a two-story building for his retirement. He retired and came back home. And his own place of abode is supposed to be the upmost floor. He ended up in the ground floor. That is it. That's planning. That is planning. So if borrowing from that is just telling you that if you want to plan, if you want to retire, you are planning for retirement. Don't go and build something that at the end of the day, it becomes a museum.
Or you cannot sustain.
Yes, it even becomes a museum in your own house. You cannot climb the second. The first floor, or you're talking of the second floor. You cannot go there. So planning, sir, without data, you cannot plan. You can't plan anything.
Let me interject a little bit and have you build the basics for this particular conversation. From what you've said now, something just occurred to me right about now. There are people, when we talk about wanting to have a national population census, people will ask the question, what do we need it for? Help us understand why it is important for us to have a national population census, what it's all about.
That is why we are planning for national population and housing census. It's not just population census, national population and housing census.
Okay.
So, without census, sir, I said we have discussed the issue of planning. I said infrastructure. If you know the demography of the people in a community, you will not know which type of schools you're supposed to provide for them. Are you supposed to provide high schools? Is it the universities? Or is it a reception? Or is it a nursery? Or is it primary or secondary schools? All these ones are issues of planning. We have of data. So if you don't have the data, the right data, you cannot be able to meet the needs of your people.
The data basically is for national planning.
Oh, definitely, yes.
And it's not collected for any other purposes but for national planning.
Development.
To aid national planning and development.
Definitely, yes.
Because I asked you to lay the foundation for this because you have people who would say, what do we need it for? What have they done with the ones done in the past before? Have they used it to improve our lives or not? A lot of questions are being asked. And now I want to get back to, what you said during the press briefing. You talked about data safety.
Yes.
So could you elaborate on this one?
Well, safety, somebody may come and ask you, questions as to the type of, the demography of your family, for example. So let's say the person has a sinister motive with all our insecurities all over the place, and you have 20 people, a youth that are over 20 years to 30 years old. If with the present problems we have for insecurity, if those people over there know that you have that type of people in your household, are you safe? How do you protect the data? That is why anytime we come for census, we make sure and we tell you that the data of your household is not something that we are going to leave it like that. And that is why we're talking of the cybersecurity and what have you. They're very, very important. So the data, for us to have safety of our data is very, very important. Because if they are not, if you just leave them like that carelessly, anybody can now come and take the data and do whatever sinister things that he or she will do with those. That is why we are very, very conscious of the security of the data.
Now, if there were to be a national population census, population and housing census
yes,
today in Nigeria, can we guarantee the safety of data of Nigerians?
Oh, definitely. That is why, for the first time in the history of this country, we are going to do what we call as digitized census.
Digitized
census? Yes. It is going to be computerized, and it's not a question of like before, when they will ask you questions and what have you, and then they will put it on a paper. Sometimes you find them, I'm not talking of the one from national population, I'm talking of generally. Even in some offices, you can find some of the papers with low-selling akara, for example.
We've had a case of someone who went to buy akara and he was sold akara with his CV.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm saying. So that is why we are now using the digitized census. Digitized equipment, the personal data assistant, is what we are going to use for this. So we have in stock about 760,000 already stocked in all the central bank branches in the country because we were ready for this exercise.
We'll still get to dig deeper about the readiness for the census exercise, but that has been jettisoned. We don't know what could be the reasons why it was jettisoned, but fund, I know, is part of one of the reasons why the census has not taken place yet. But you also raised another critical question during your presentation. You talked about also reflecting on those who are unaccounted for.
Yeah.
During data collection.
Yeah.
Are there people, for instance, who are unaccounted for during data collection?
We are talking of children between the ages of 1 to 5, for example. We have our registrars in almost all localities, not just only even ward, even down to the hamlet level. We have our registrars. Any time that a child is born, this staff, they register them. But you know that it's not possible for them to have captured all those classes of children during their normal work. And that is why we are now liaising with UNICEF. And UNICEF has taken it upon itself to assist us. We are doing it as a joint venture so that all those children that were not hitherto captured during the normal exercise of our work, we now want to pick them up.
So you want to synchronize the data between what UNICEF have and what you have?
No. There were some that were not registered.
At all?
Yes, it's possible. You will have to know some family may even refuse to allow their children to be counted, to be enumerated during the normal birth registration that we are doing. Can you force them? So, but we have now trained people, and so much so that if your household refuse to allow your children to be counted, at least we will now go a step further to the village head, to the ward head, district head, and even the local chief, the chief there.
Your response to the question has segued us into the crux of the matter, digital birth registration.
Yeah.
And I'll need for you to lay the basics, the foundation. Why digital birth registration? Why is it coming at a time like this? What is the imperativeness of driving an exercise such as this nature?
Good. By the time a child is born, sir, the child has no identity. We want every Nigerian to have an identity. If you are Aaron Isaac, you are just Aaron Isaac. Even there is an Aaron Isaac number 2, but you do not have the same features with you.
Sure.
So that is why we felt that there is a need for us to, go that deep. And I have told you we are working with UNICEF. And to create identity. Immediately a child is born, a child is supposed to have an identity. So we are working with the UNICEF. For example, there are part and parcel of, there are partners in progress to ensure that every child born in Nigeria has every child has an identity. And also, we want to merge the national identity number
NIN
of NIMSI. Every child that is born, we are now working with National Population Commission, UNICEF, and NIMSI.
So every child that is born
yes.
and registered will have a NIN number to that child?
Definitely, yes.
That's what's going to happen going forward?
Definitely, yes. But up to the age of 16, those ones, they will not have biometric features. Those children will not have biometric features until when you graduate to become 16, 17 years.
Okay.
Then that is when your biometrics will now feature. But for now, every child that is born working with the UNICEF and NIMSI, we want them to have national identity number.
It's good you talk about the collaboration, but help us to understand what role each agency is playing. National Population Commission, for instance, on the one hand, NPC. What is the role of the NPC, and what are the things that the NPC is expected to do that differs from what UNICEF, for instance, is going to do in this particular merger?
Well, you see, when we register a child, when a child is born, we register the child.
That is NPC.
NPC, that's the identity. Then I said that the NIMSI, their role there now, because we are going to work hand in hand. When we are going for this registration, now, we are going together with NIMSI. Every child that is going to be registered will also have NIN number.
What about UNICEF? What role are they playing?
Of course, finance and logistics.
Okay.
They assist us.
That's where I want to get to. That is where I want to get to. So talk to us about when this exercise, has it commenced or is about to commence?
The exercise is going to start, we're supposed to have started on the 1st
of August.
Yes.
But due
for 3
to
months.
the national crisis.
I'm talking of Adamawa State now.
Okay.
I'm talking specifically.
Yeah.
We are going to start 1st of August. We were supposed to have started 1st of August. I think we are starting tomorrow or next tomorrow. And it's going to run for 3 months.
3 months?
Yes, in the first instance. It's going to start work. I mean, we're going to do it for the next 3 months.
Are you doing it concurrently, or you've segmented areas where you're going to commence with first?
We have identified 7 hubs where children will be enumerated in Adamawa State.
7 hubs?
Hubs, yes.
And these are?
Michika, Mubi North, Gombe, Yola North, Demsa, you have Ganye, that is 7.
6 for now.
Okay, 6 for now.
Michika, Mubi North, Gombe, Yola North, Demsa, Ganye, and the last one.
Yeah, I'll give you the last one.
We get the last one.
Yes.
And these hubs are to cater for everyone within
that zone.
Okay.
They are to register children born. I mean, every child will get a digitized certificate. Once they register you, you will end up getting a birth certificate that is digitized. Touch of button like this, certificate will come out. And you go home with it. So all within these hubs, you know, the children will be registered.
So you're telling me there's going to be deployment of technology in the coverage of this exercise?
Oh, definitely, yes. They're going to
and
use,
what are the guarantees what technology are we deploying, and what are the guarantees that this technology are not going to disappoint us?
And let me even start from the fact that we have recruited people and trained them already. We have recruited people at the first level who have trained the trainers.
Okay.
Who now went to these 7 hubs. Adamawa, we have about 895 volunteers. We call them volunteers.
895 volunteers.
Yes.
Okay.
There was a Google link for the recruitment exercise. And we told people to just, you enter the Google link yourself. So that don't say, the recruited people, they didn't tell me. No. It was open to the public.
Okay.
So those 895, they are now the one who are going to register these children. And the whole nation, we agreed with UNICEF, there's 9 million children will be registered.
Across Nigeria?
Across Nigeria.
And in Adamawa State?
285,000. That is our own, our target.
Okay.
285,000 children will be registered under this process. So they have been trained, like I've told you. They were selected, they were trained, and 893 people were also trained for this exercise in those 7 hubs.
All right. So what are the technology that we're deploying?
We are going to use the personal data assistant.
Personal data assistant?
Yes, the PDA.
Okay.
The computer. It's going to be, I say it's digitized. Definitely, yes.
Are there guarantee that these devices would see you through the moment, or you have contingency plan just in case one fails?
We were trying to count over 200 million Nigerians using the same device. So, and we didn't check that something is going to fail. So what we're talking of 9 million children.
Why are you so optimistic?
Very, very optimistic. Because we have already tested and retested, and we are very, very sure of our equipment, and they are going to work.
Now, let me ask you one interesting question regarding this particular exercise. I know, especially with the growing proliferation of private hospitals, people get birth registrations at the private hospitals, and they consider what they will get from the NPC as not relevant that much. What about that? Is that also going to change, or there is a way you have to partner with these private hospitals and see how you can help cover for the kids that are born within these facilities?
I have good news for you. If a child is born and he's not registered by National Population Commission, it is the same thing as if the child was not born. Any other certificate is inferior. The Nigerian Constitution has given us the sole mandate to register children in Nigeria. Of course, yes. And I will surprise you that all those hospitals you're talking about, we have our staff inside.
Present there?
Oh, definitely, yes. Okay. So by the time that the child is born, and they give the hospital now, the doctor gives certificate. Our own staff, they have a desk there, and then they will now do the digital registration and give the child an identity. So not that we are saying the hospital will not give. We cannot stop them from. But if you
What is recognized nationally?
Definitely. If you want your child to travel outside, all the embassies, this is the only thing that do organize. So by the time you collect from the hospital, you will still come back to National Population Commission.
Say we have hard to reach.
Including you.
Okay.
It's not just 0 to 5 now. I'm talking of 0 to 5 to 16, and then if you are about 16 or 17 years old,
yes,
we give you what we call as attestation.
Attestation.
Yes.
All right.
Even that one too is also digital.
The Federal Commission has, really allowed me to swallow my next question. But obviously, when we get back to the second half of this particular conversation, is going to respond to it. What are the modalities put in place to cater for hard-to-reach areas, if we have any, here in Adamawa State? And what would be the essence of this data, and how would this data help in national planning? And would the political class truly take advantage of a data that is as rich as this to help in national planning and development? All of these questions, the Federal Commissioner will be responding to them when we come back from the break. Stay with me. All right, you're watching On the Spot Live, reaching from our studios here, and the crux of the matter centers on the activities of the National Population Commission. While we are yet to have a national population and housing census, the Commission is not sitting on its oars. It's devising other means to ensure that there are other data that has been collected, and this time around they are doing birth registration. Adamawa State is here to commence, but it hopes to commence pretty soon. Already the groundwork has been laid because we have 7 hubs where these exercises will be conducted, and it's going to pull across other local government that are, catchment to these particular hubs. And these hubs are scattered across Adamawa State. There are 7 of them. We have one in Michika, another in Mubi North, Gombe, Yola North, Demsa, Ganye, and Fufore. For those across this axis, you can take your children there to get registered. And the most important thing is there is ease for what the National Population Commission is doing. And that ease comes with you going to a hospital and having their staff present for you to get your child registered. It's a digitized registration, so it's different from the usual. It's no longer going to be a paperwork, but it will be a digital process, and it's going to cover 0 to 5 years of age. And by the way, for this exercise, recruitment of volunteers had been done already, so there's not going to be an opening for any form of registration right about now, because that has been concluded. It's about to commence the entire process, and we have about 285 children. That is 1,000 children, I beg your pardon, that are meant to be covered during this exercise here in Adamawa State. And that tells you it's a significant number of births that has happened here in the state. And the volunteers would be able to help drive home this particular process. I have the Federal Commissioner live in the studio, Dr. Clifford Zirra, who is helping me navigate these issues and creating clarity as to regarding this exercise that would take place here in the state. Honorable Commissioner, let me, before I, ask the one other question here, let me have you talk about those who might have, some skepticism as they allow for these particular registration. What are you, doing to ensure that there is enough information out there just to clear every form of doubt and allow these people bring out their children for this particular registration?
Thank you very much. When I was mentioning the hopes, though I have told you later on, yes. I think we missed out for
yes.
And again, for the attestation, 18 years and above. So the question you are asking now?
Yes, skepticism. Those who might, why I cannot bring my child for this registration? Maybe they want to, you understand? Those things do happen.
Well, I told you that we have registrars living amongst these communities. Every ward, we have registrars. Every hamlet level, we have registrars. Their own is to register children that are born. There is no way you can stay in a village, for example, and the wife of Aaron gives birth. There is a naming ceremony, sir.
Of course.
So, and our staff are there. So they know.
And so you're not afraid that people might not want to allow their kids to be registered? You're not afraid that that could happen, perhaps?
If that could have happened. But I've told you that these staff, the registrar, they stay amongst the people. And don't be surprised that they may even be part of the villagers, because we recruit them locally. Are you telling me you don't trust your own son? We're not bringing the person from Bayelsa as a registrar to go and stay in Diggle, in Mubi, for example. No. The people who are there, we recruit them. And I have told you now that that apart from the registrars we have this 895 volunteers. We are recruiting them for the next 3 months. You'll be paid based on the number of children you register.
Okay, based on the number of children you register, that
yes.
is how the payment is going to be for the volunteers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if you go there and you go and lie down, so nothing for you. That is it. But I've told you.
That's quite interesting.
Oh, yeah. I said the registrars are even from those local communities.
No, I think it has addressed my fears because, yes, if it's from the community, there's a trust that is built in that particular regard. So it has addressed my fears because I was looking at I'm drawing lessons and reference from previous encounters that we've had in Nigeria where people will be a bit skeptical about certain kind of exercises. I'll say, for instance, not too long ago, malaria medications were issued to children. And there were people who were like, don't give it to your kids. Mm-hmm. And it's been there. So fears like this is the reason why I asked that question. Now, respond to hard-to-reach areas, if there are any that we have in Adamawa State. What are the plans to cover these kind of areas?
80% of Adamawa State are hard to reach.
80%?
I can say that one. We have chains of mountains. The Mandara Mountain stretch all the way from Michigan, that's the beginning, to even Taraba State. So almost all Ogome, they have a trace of that. And even Tongo that doesn't have the Mandara Mountain, they have even worse mountain than that. To go to some areas in Tongo, I told you during the trial census.
Yeah, you did.
You have to even go to Cameroon Republic before you now dovetail and come to... And I say we have people. We have people already there, they are stationed. And they are local people. We are not bringing somebody from Hong and take him to Tongo as a registrar. No, it's their own child. It's their own, their own people. So, National Population Commission had to reach is just like toward the Mia for us. Nobody fears hard to reach areas. Even me, I've climbed Tongo, Kwama Hills. And then we have 16 was in Michigan. Out of 16, about only 3 or so inside Michigan town, Bazaar, just few. Not up to 4 out of 16. All the rest are on top of mountain.
And it's totally covered. Totally covered.
The people are there, okay. They are covered. There are people are there. We recruit people from those places, and they trust them, and so we don't have any problem.
Okay.
So when you talk of hard to reach, it's like it's nothing to us in National Population Commission. Yeah. Even people from other local government areas, when they go to Michigan, they will tell you some places that you, as a bona fide child of the local government, you have never been there. The same thing with Tongo. What of Koma? What of Ganye? So we have stretches of hard to reach areas, but in National Population Commission,
it doesn't bother you.
No.
It doesn't bother you.
No.
It's good for us to hear that. Now, talk to me. I know this exercise is being carried out by the National Population Commission.
Yeah.
But the registration that will happen here in Adamawa State is for children born here in the state, which means, of course, this data is also useful to the government of Adamawa State.
Definitely.
Talk to me about partnership. What is it like between the MPC and the Adamawa State government?
Well,
to drive home this particular exercise?
Not only this exercise. When you talk of stakeholders, the National Population Commission is here. Adamawa State government occupy a very large chunk of the stakeholder. So anything we are doing in Adamawa State, the government is supposed to be and is at the nerve center of each and every activity.
What kind of support are you getting from it? Is it encouraging, or is it support that requires more?
Well, we are Oliver Twist. If the governor in his wisdom is doing enough, certainly some of the local governments are not doing well. And we always have the opportunity, when you see him, we tell him that some of your local governments are not doing well. But thank God, all the local government chairmen in Adamawa State today are new.
Exactly.
So one of the strategies I want to devise is that I will work very closely with the Algon executives so that so much so that even their meetings, I will even make sure that I will attend so that I can be able to talk to the chairman direct. So if the former chairmen were not cooperating in some of the local government areas, at least we have new people now. So, but since we have the buy-in of His Excellency, the Governor of Adamawa State, I don't feel that we should cry too much, because things must take shape. Because like you said, who is the beneficiary of all this work? It's the government, sir. Before you talk of federal government, it's the state government. And what is happening in Adamawa is replicated all over the country. But like I said, like Oliver Twist, as you also being a stakeholder, we are also encouraging you to talk more to the state government to continue to assist us, to tolerate us, because the work we are doing actually is to assist them in their decision-making processes.
What about the political elites in Adamawa State? What kind of dialogue are you having with the political elites? Because when it comes to politicking, these are the people who go, promise high heavens to the people. But unfortunately, they are promising these people high heavens without a data to back it up. What kind of dialogue, what kind of conversation are you having with the political elites here in Adamawa State?
Well, it's not only in Adamawa State, sir, but like I've said, you, the press, you are a very strong part of the tripod or whatever. You are a stakeholder. The normal politician is mostly interested in election. But I continue to tell you here, if we don't do our exercise very well, like the census, for example, how do we delineate the constituencies? Today, apart from Hong, apart from Fufore, apart from which other local government that has 2 members in the State House of Assembly? All the rest, they have only one. But who tells you that if by the time we have finished the census exercise, almost 3/4 of the local government areas in Adamawa State, from our exercise, they are supposed to have 2 members in State House of Assembly. 3 members in State House of Assembly, 2 members in House of Representatives. The only thing that does not change is the governor, the president, the governor, and the senator. But even the House of Reps, our work can alter the number. I can give you.
You're telling me that the mandate of the NPC covers these areas?
It's not just covering. It's raw data, sir. That's why I'm here talking data. It's raw data. If the data is showing you that, Yola North, they're supposed to have 2 members, House of Representatives. They should not have Yola North and Gire. Yola North is ripe for 2 members, House of Reps, 4 members, House of Assembly. Is this something you are going to contest? It's the data. And that is the use of data. That's the work of data, sir. It brings out the thing beer. So, as like I've said, sir, the politician is, if they know more than what I'm telling you, they are even supposed to do our work more than what we are doing.
The reason why I had to ask what kind of conversation is happening between your commission and the politicians.
We collaborate, certainly, but we want them to carry this message.
Okay.
More than what you, as one of the critical stakeholder, is doing, because it is by the time if there are 10 councillors in Yola North, and the exercise we have done shows that it's supposed to have been 15. They have to delete the constituency and create additional 5 wards. So we have 15 councillors.
So it's even working to their credit more.
Definitely, yes.
If only they understand
That's what
the
I'm
importance.
saying.
Yes, it's working to their credit.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Before we forget, is this exercise going to require any form of payment from persons who come for registration, or is it going to be a free exercise? Say, for instance, I want to register my child. Am I paying for anything?
From 0 to 5, in fact, 0 to 16 years.
0 to 16?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, it is, we give you a certificate free.
For free?
Yes.
No payment, nothing?
Your own is just to present yourself. That is it. It's free.
Then from 18 above?
18 above, it is when you are now ripe and you want to give you what you call attestation. You pay a token.
How much is that?
It's, a token. Just
okay, it's just a token.
Just a token. It's not something that is harmful.
Okay, said it's not something that is harmful.
It's just a token.
Once again, let's have the information. When are we expected to begin the birth registration in Adamawa State?
I think it is, like I told you, because of what has happened.
There's been a delay. It's supposed to be on the 1st of August.
I think it's going to start tomorrow or next tomorrow.
Okay.
And it's going to be for 3 months, staggered. For 3 months.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe from 1st to 10th, wait small, like that, until 3 months.
Only 3 months?
Yes, sir.
All right. And we have 7 hubs.
Yes.
Where the registration, like centers where the registration will happen.
Yes.
And these hubs are, scattered across the geopolitical zones here in Adamawa State.
Yes.
And we have one in Michika, one in Mubi North, one in Gombe, one in Yola North, one in Demsa, another in Genye, and another in Fufore. And about 285,000 children to be registered by the National Population Commission here in Adamawa State alone. And already they had concluded processes for recruiting ad hoc or volunteers to help in the discharge of this responsibility. So that is a done deal. The NPC seem ready. All that is expected of us is for us to be ready to open our doors and receive them and have our kids register for proper planning if we want to get that right. Honorable Commissioner, before we allow you go out of the studio today, we must talk about the National Population and Housing Census. What's a census, rather? What is still delaying it, if there are reasons that we need to know about?
Well, we are part of the process because everybody, economists said resources are very limited. For example, I'm not just limiting it to resources alone, but you see, we were supposed to have done this exercise just by May last year.
Last year, yes.
And the president was preparing to hand over. So along the line, he said, but why can't the new administration, they should have a buy-in of this process, so much so that, you know, let it be their baby. Like how the former president was carrying us through, now I'm handing you over the new administration.
Okay.
So let it be their baby. And it is not something more than that. And so that is where we are today.
But it's been over 10 years without the National Population Census and Population and Housing Census. Over 10 years.
I can now tell you the one that we were just about to. The president has given us a time in May to conduct the census.
But I was actually thinking maybe the commission was not even ready enough to go.
We are about 80% ready. We only have one leg of training left. That's the local government training. So once we are mobilized to do that one, then we will now finish that training. We have done the one for national. We have done the one for, you know, we have done all the other things. We have done trial census. We have done pretest. We have done all. We have done done EADs in all the local government areas in the country. So this is just the only one remaining.
If Mr. President gives the green, the clear for census to go on, are you telling me categorically clear that the MPC is ready to swing into action without any delay?
Definitely, we are very, very ready. If it's for the training, in fact, for me to come to Bethel for another interview on Tuesday, I will be in my office to commence the local government training. That is the last leg of the exercise. Okay. Before we can now do the census. Census is only maximum 7 days. All this talk, the whole exercise of census is not more than 7 days.
All right, let me have you have, in 30 seconds, final message to the people of Adamawa State. What would you tell them?
Yeah. I am appealing to all the stakeholders, beginning from His Excellency, the Governor of Adamawa State. I have told you, yes, he has been cooperating with us. He has been assisting us. I said, if we had any problems, actually, it was some of the chairmen that left before. But thank God today, we have new Algon executives. We have brand new local government chairmen. And just a word from the governor to them will definitely change things, the narratives. And I have told you that I intend to, as a strategy, to work very, very closely with the Algon executives. In fact, to even attend some of their meetings, if they wouldn't mind, so that I can now have one-on-one discussion on each local government chairman and tell them about the need to have census. If there's no census, sir, if there's no data, because that's why we're here, if there's no data, you can't do anything at all. Okay. So that is my own. I am pleading to all the stakeholders, beginning with the press, the fourth estate of the realm.
All right.
You are at the forefront.
You are making the appeal on the platform already. And we are helping champion this particular cause. And I hope the national leadership of the National Population Commission is up and running. And once again, congrats on your second return as a federal commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And it's indeed a very good job you're doing in helping propel the activities of the National Population Commission here in Adamawa State. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm most grateful that you graced the request to be here today. I'm most grateful.
Thank you very much.
All right, you've heard it all, and I hope you keep your doors open, and all stakeholders would avail their people the privileged information of asking them to bring out their kids for this digitized Birth Registration. It does not require any payment from you, 0 to 5 years, or 0 to 16 years does not require any form of payment. So just bring these kids out, have them registered, and let's have this data for the planning of Adamawa State and also for Nigeria. Thank you for your time and company. Let me see you again next time. Bye for now.